Okay, let's try this again with the second lecture about the skeletal system. Bone classifications. All right, so the function of the skeletal system, I think I mentioned it in the other, in the previous lecture, provides support, movement, protects internal organs, storage of minerals like calcium, and location for blood formation. We'll talk here a little bit more in depth about what's known as a red bone marrow, and the yellow bone marrow. Red bone marrow found in the spongy part of the bones, whereas the yellow is it's mostly fat, and that's more so kind of found in the shaft. So again, the red bone marrow actually is going to produce a bunch of the blood cells that you see here, like the red blood cells. These are part of the white blood cells, the WBCs. All right, white blood cells, or you can say leukocytes. They help out with the immune system. Of course, as you know, red blood cells help to, not help, but they carry oxygen, O2, that's how you write oxygen. So they help carry oxygen throughout the blood, throughout our body. And of course, platelets are good for blood clotting. So our body uses everything man to clot the blood. These are, again, just some examples of the specific cells that are involved that, for the most part, come from the red bone marrow. All right, so you got compact versus spongy bones. Compact bones, layer of dense material, all right, wrapped around blood vessels. Spongy bones, network of bone material filled with red or yellow marrow. Many bones have compact layer around spongy center. So I'm going to show you a few slides that's going to be showing the compact and spongy. So the compact is kind of more so the outer. It's rigid, it's hard. That's a part that, of course, breaks. Well, I guess it can break all the way through there, but that's the rigid and hard part. Whereas the spongy, it's kind of like a network of fibrous material, if you will. And that's what you'll find actually in here and inside. It's fibrous, is porous. So again, compact, rigid, hard, whereas spongy is more porous. Now I'm going to show you again. So here is a bone, hard bone, compact. Of course, there's cartilage, as you know, that actually connects bone to bone. And then you have bone marrow. This probably more so would be the yellow bone marrow. Red bone marrow, more so a little bit located in this area. Of course, blood vessels. You have to have blood vessels going to the bones because the bone actually is a living tissue. And it needs all the nutrients and oxygen, needs to release the carbon dioxide in order for the bone cells to survive. Okay, so again, red bone marrow gives rise and produces basically the red and mostly white blood cells, as well as platelets. Yellow bone marrow contains a high level of fat. So again, the hollow center, the diaphysis, that is part of that center that's used hollowed out. Okay, and that's where you'll find more so kind of the yellow bone marrow. Of course, if you eating like chicken wings, you're going somewhere, watch a game, eating chicken wings, you break open maybe the chicken wings or the legs, whatnot there. Of course, you see kind of like that spongy part that's inside the bone. Yeah, that's a part of the marrow that's in chickens there. Okay, and then again right here, you'll find more so in the epicellus, the red bone marrow. So again, this portion, more so the red marrow, right here, portion, the yellow marrow. And again, red marrow, major site of blood cell formation, fills the spaces of spongy cavity. This is the spongy cavity right here. Maybe I use another. Yeah, why not green? Okay, so this is spongy cavity. Whereas actually, again, in the inner portion, the hollow part, that's where you have the yellow. Okay, so bone structure and functions. 4 shapes of bones. You have the long bones, short bones, flat bones, and irregular. So the long bones have a shaft. So this would be like an example of a long bone. It looks like a femur here. Has a shaft for the head. contains mostly compact bones, so very compact, very tight, very rigid. Short bones are usually cube-like. Okay, so this would be a short bone guy right here. Contains mostly spongy bones. Flat bones, thin, flat, and usually curved. Okay, a lot of times used to protect different types of vital organs or anything that's in our body. And irregular. We call these irregular bones because they really don't really fit in these three categories, in the long, short, and flat bones. So we call them irregular. Again, this slide maybe kind of a little more detail. Long bones basically affects your overall height. So your legs, your arms, femur, humerus. Short bones, smaller bones. Again, you'll find them more so in the feet and the hands, the phalanges, metacarpal. The flat bones, more so the cranium, pelvis, and irregular bones, you'll find actually, associated with the pelvis and the spine. All right, so again, long bones. Okay, these are the bones, that when we think of bones, a lot of times we kind of think about, these kind of bones there, right? Of course, these are bones. Now, these are short bones. These are bones as well, but it's kind of like, these kind of bones tend to get more of the, I guess, I don't know, the attention and the glory, if you will. But of course, these are short bones. Again, cuboidal. Actually, these are carpals and associated with the wrist, and you have those also associated right here, down here, with the ankle. Flat bones, the head, skull, and then the irregular. Again, associated with the vertebrae and the pelvis. Will be the irregular. Just showing just another again. So again, I think I just talked about this. It's just kind of reiterating. Sometimes I just like to put slides in there just to kind of just reiterate the point again. Flat bones, basically protection of internal organs, like a rib cage that's protecting all the internal organs here, head, and so on and so forth, pelvis. All right, long bones. That's where I have like the bone marrow. Basically, you find that gives our heights. A lot of calcium, nice amount of calcium in there. Okay, all right. The long bones, all right. Epiphysis, it's kind of like the head of it, all right. Diaphysis and our diaphysis. It's kind of those pronunciation type of things there. So almost like tomato, paper root, paper route. So as you see here, these are the actually the categories of where these guys are located. There, epiphysis right here. Epiphysis. All right, right there. All right, and this is the middle part. Short bones again, right here, cuboidal from wrist. Around the feet, fingers, hands. Again, bones of wrist, bones of the ankle. Irregular. Again, like I said, they do not fit into previous categories. They consist of a thin layer of compact bone surrounding a spongy bone interior. As implied by the name, their shapes are irregular and complicated. The bones of their vertebral column, pelvic girdle, the face, and more are irregular bones. All right. So again, their shapes are a little different from the other bones, but of course, very, 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 very important there. And again, examples of irregular vertebrae, pelvis. Again, and this is just the different sections of the vertebrae. Like, we get into like the lumbar, the C's, and all these are numbered, and then the T's, T1s, T2s, and lumbar, so on and so forth there. But again, like I said, these are irregular bones.